Okay, I call the order of the meeting of May 21st, 2019 at 7 p.m. Can I have a moment of silence for all those serving inside and outside our borders, please? All right, will you join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, can we have roll call, please, Mayor?
Mayor Adrian Sandoval.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Larry Clark.
Here.
Harold Leggett.
Present.
Nick Ralston.
Here.
Spencer Bradnan.
Here.
Troy Blum.
Here.
Hope Morris.
Here. All right, I entertain a motion for approval of the agenda as presented.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second. Motion carried to approve the agenda. Audience participation. We are going to start off with, I have a couple of things and then I'll call for those who want to get up and speak. So A, we have Mr. Rinkin. I'll let you take it from here.
Okay. As the board well knows, Reggie, and Gordon's here as well, but Reggie is retiring in this month as our recreation director because she's retiring as a teacher as well. And I wanted to give her an opportunity to give one last report to the board. So I'm going to turn over to Reggie, and then I've got something I want to give her.
Okay, just wanted to thank you all, like always, for all the support you've given us. It's been such an easy place to work. Your number one priority seems to be kids. Other towns go through some struggles, and we've never had to worry about that. We're ending the season with a bang. We have 15 t-ball, soft pitch, coach pitch, and baseball teams, so we're getting that lined up. Gordon's working hard on the fields to keep them beautiful. I really want to thank him. He's been my right-hand man, I guess you could say. We've worked together pretty well over the years. I tell him what to do, and he does it, you know.
The truth.
Biking time was a success, and when we got our United Way grant, they came to our school and visited the gym and wanted to hear about biking time. So hopefully that's going to continue. It's just been an honor and a privilege to work here and to be part of this community. There's no better people in this town than you guys, so it's just been a pleasure. I'm really going to miss it, but I'll be around. So
I was just going to ask, are you staying in town though?
Oh yeah.
Oh, good.
We have a grandbaby here, so.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you
very much for all of your service, time, energy, both of you, Gordon too. Thank you very much.
So Reggie. Something to hang on the wall.
Okay.
Gordon already has
his.
Right, okay?
Right.
So this is congratulations on your retirement, Reggie Huntington, co-director of Recreation, Town of Platteville. February 23rd, 2000 to May 31st, 2019. Celebrate what has passed, embrace what is coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to thank the schools, too, the principals in this town, you guys and all the teachers here. We've just had such a great working partnership. There's no way we could have run a rec department without you guys and the support of the schools. So I want to really, Ben, I'm glad you guys are here to hear that. So thank you so much for your support, too. It's a great partnership. So.
Yes, thank you, Reggie.
Gordon, do you have any comments about your boss the last 4 or 5 years?
Pretty easy to work with. I don't know what I'm going to do when I wake up in the morning. I don't have those sticky notes. No, it's been really good. You know, we've always treated our life as 50-50. We, you know, relationship-wise, kid-wise, work-wise, and so, you know, it just came natural to do this job that way. And we appreciate the opportunity, and just again thank everybody in this community. Has just been fantastic. The people, the volunteers that we've had, the board, the schools. It's just a great place to be, and we are gonna miss it, but we're also looking forward to doing other things. So, but thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just so you know, I've got coaches texting me at night telling me to build more baseball fields. I'm not sure where that came from. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, moving on. We have the Youth Coalition, the Platteville Middle School, and the elementary. So without further ado.
Hello, I'm Amy Herman and I'm the principal at Platteville Elementary, and I am very proud to present to you our two student council officers, Kendra Steve and Joseph Aegis.
Hello, my name is Kendra Steve. I'm in 5th grade and I'm the communication reporter. Over the months, we have had a few events occur at the school. First, we had our Teacher Appreciation Week, where we showed how much we love our teachers. We celebrated our parents with drinks and donuts. Last, we are left with our upcoming Entrepreneur Fair that is tomorrow, 8:30 to 11. Thank you for taking your time to listen to me.
My name is Joseph Aegis and I'm in 5th grade and I'm president of Platteville Elementary School. And we had Race to Read Month, and if you got 16 quizzes done, you got to do the ninja course. And if you got 24 quizzes done, you got to go to the bubble machine. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to present to you. Thank you.
My name is Angelina Pike, and I am the president of Student Council at South Valley Middle School. At South Valley, we have done a lot of fun and exciting activities, including, for a recap, Spring Spirit Week, giving Thanksgiving dinner to both the firemen and policemen. We also had a very fun Halloween dance. I Love to Read Week, where we gave our students water bottles and free books thanks to the public library. Another fun activity we did was hosting a movie night, which played Incredibles 2. We donated money for the senior center's bus. We went on a float for the Parade of Lights. We had a school book fair and a school-wide Thanksgiving lunch. This year we also had a daddy-daughter dance, a mother and son bowling night. The upcoming events we have planning for would be having elections for our officers for next year for student council. We are also having a cornhole tournament this Friday, our 8th grade picnic, promotion, and trip to Boondocks. We are also starting to pack up our building for the construction over the summer, which we're super excited for. Thank you.
Thank you.
So just a few things. The cornhole tournament is Friday, and so it's thank you. $150 to the winners. So if you are interested, register. I heard this is a big cornhole town, so we'd like to see you out there Friday. And then also something else I was gonna say. I lost it.
What time on Friday?
6 o'clock. Yeah, and I think you can get on our website and register through there. So, Reggie, thank you for everything. Good 9 years with you, and thank you. And I know what you and your husband could do. You can get on our sub list. Next year, one thing that I would like to do is get a lot more involved with the seniors in Platteville, so we can look forward to that. So, thank you. Thanks for this opportunity.
Thank you. All right, now we have the RE1 bond update. Mr. Rangel. I know. I waited just for that.
Hi, my name is Don Rangel. I'm superintendent of schools for Weld County School District RE1 for just about the next 6 weeks. On June 30th, I will be retiring after a little over 3.5 decades in education, and so there is not a better place to end your career or to educate your kids than our 3 communities. It's been a true joy. Beyond the bond update, I just want to talk just a little bit about some of the things we've made progress on over the last couple of years. When I was hired as superintendent, our school board charged me specifically with working to rebuild connections with our communities and begin to rebuild trust with our communities and also with our staff and others. And it's been one of the things that has been most important to me is developing those relationships. One of the side benefits of really working hard in that area is I've been able to get to know our 3 town administrators very, very well. Troy Rankin and Carl Harvey from LaSalle and Trudy Peterson from Gilchrist, who just retired. We have the opportunity about every 6 to 8 weeks we get together and we have breakfast, and it's an opportunity for our town administrators, and Troy especially is really an advocate for the town of Platteville and has allowed us to know some of the things that the town is working on and how the school district can support those. But it's also been given us an opportunity to talk a little bit about how the town can support our efforts in our schools. Because one of the things that I absolutely know for sure is that we share constituents, we share citizens, we share the youth and the parents in our 3 communities and in this town. We have, over the last couple of years, especially if you read the national news and pay attention to what's happening there, school safety seems to be on the forefront of the news almost each week. And we have, as a school district, really invested well over $1 million into safety precautions, from secured front entrances to putting cameras throughout our schools, to the very big decision several years back to partner both with Platteville and LaSalle to have school resource officers. And I will tell you, the school resource officers we have right now coming out of Platteville have been extraordinary. Our kids trust our resource officers, our staff trusts our resource officers, and we really count on their service to provide not just an armed presence in our school, but they also have really started to break down those barriers that sometimes kids can have in their head about the role of police in the community, and began to develop that trust. And it's been amazing to watch. I even had the pleasure of being pulled over by one of our Platteville police officers for a rolling stop. And so as I got out of it, as he said, "Mr. Wrangler, you need to stay in the car," and I said, "Nobody's above the law." So they are vigilant and they are on top of it. From an academic standpoint, I need to say that in 2015, when I became superintendent, our schools, 4 out of our 6 schools were in improvement, and our district as a whole had, from 2009 to 2015, had been a school district accredited with improvement. Right now, 5 out of our 6 schools are performance schools, including both of the schools here in Platteville, and our district is fully accredited without that tag of improvement on the end. So from a safety standpoint, helping our kids becoming emotionally, socially, and physically safe. From an academic standpoint, we have made progress. And finally, what I will say a little bit about the bond issue. The citizens of our 3 communities made a decision in 2016 to help the district by passing a bond issue. And that bond issue and the money that's generated by that was to be solely used for the renovation, upkeep, and taking care of deferred maintenance that had built up over a 22-year period when we were unable to pass a bond. And I'm really happy to say that substantial completion on all bond projects in all 6 of our schools, and including the 2 gymnasiums at the high school, will be completely renovated when our teachers start on August 21st and before our kids start the day after Labor Day. We've also appreciated the community flexibility around having longer summer, so that construction work could get done. And it took a little flexibility because usually around mid-July, parents are saying, man, when is school going to start again? And so it really did take a little bit of an effort on everybody's part to pull this off. We will have quality HVAC system throughout our system. Through our building, we will have quality windows, new carpet, new paint, and we'll also be taking care of the drainage and all the other things that our three towns really struggle with, being so flat and having a high water table. And so it's taken a lot of civil work. But the buildings are really going to be pretty well like new in August, and we need to all feel proud about that. That is an investment that's going to last many, many years in this district. As of today, we are on time and we're under budget, and we're at the point where we also feel like we've managed the money well enough that we should be in a position to be able to pay off that bond at least a couple of years early, earlier than the 15-year term. So we feel really good about that. And so between our physical plant, our safety, our academics, and then just the trust that's been built with our three communities, it feels like it's been a really successful last couple of years. And as I retire, one of the things that our school board felt was really important, and we have Mr. Mask here, standing right here, he's on our board of directors, representing this area. What was really important to them is that more than anything, that the culture and trust be built, and we're hoping, I will say that trust is a little bit like a plant. You got to continue to water it, continue to work on it. They really wanted our school district to continue in the direction that it's heading, which felt good to me personally, but I do think we're on a good track. We've built a good foundation. And so just about a month or so ago, our current assistant superintendent, Johan Van Nieuwenhuizen, and you'll have to take a few minutes to practice saying that, Johan Van Nieuwenhuizen, our assistant superintendent over the last 14 years, who's been an extraordinary partner for me, was appointed as our new superintendent of schools starting on July 1st, 2019. And if you have a few more seconds, I'd really like to have him come up and say hi to all of you. Johan?
Good evening, Mrs. Mayor, trustees of the board, and then community members. I am Johan Van Nieuwenhuizen. Like Mr. Rangel said, I have the privilege to serve the community in the last 4 years, and now I have a new role and a new title, but I'm looking forward to build on the trust-based organization we created and partnering with you all and community members as well, just to have a meaningful partnership and relationship so we can work together to serve our clients, our little friends and our big friends that we share together, to just help them to be successful on their journey through life. So I just want to invite all of you, the ones that I did not have the privilege yet to meet. If you have any good ideas or you just want to come and drink some coffee with me, this is my open invitation to all of you to come and just visit with me and say, Johan, I have great ideas, or I have a question or a challenge. And if you invite me to come and give you updates, I will gladly be in service. And you know, I already met a lot of you, and I'm just looking forward to this opportunity to serve you and the community and this district in this role. So looking forward to our partnership together. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
And finally, I have to give this lady here a hug that's sitting right over here to my, I'm talking about you. At two of our breakfasts that we've had here. If you haven't had them, she makes the best biscuits and gravy. So again, thank you, and the district will be ready to partner with you for years to come. So thank you.
Thank you for your service, Don.
Thank you,
John.
Good luck.
All right, now we have a list of folks who would like to speak. First up, I have Richard Johannes.
Good evening. My name is Richard Johannes. Live next door. Also, recently became a senior. I found out I could join the senior group a long time ago. But we've been informed this week that the current coordinator's hours will be reduced in June to 20 hours a week instead of what she has now, without benefits. We were told that this ties in with the hiring of the new rec director, who will now also assume control of the senior program with the coordinator. It is beyond my comprehension why the current leadership is being changed. The senior citizens use the program at this LED system, believe that it is not broken. Why fix it? I don't know if the new director will be able to manage the senior organization, considering the learning curve for both the recreation and senior programs. Before his or her probationary period is over, I am fairly sure he or she will not be on their own. Will be on their own. The current coordinator is already looking for a new job. Who are you going to find to fill that coordinator's job for 20 hours a week with no benefits? And do an acceptable and outstanding job for the senior organization. The programs need a full-time coordinator who's paid fairly and receives benefits. It's also interesting, to my knowledge, except for tonight, that none of the board of directors or the mayor have attended or enjoyed the meal with us. Hope you enjoyed the meal with us tonight. It was very good. There were 37 people there that ate. 40 was a total. 3 of them didn't eat. They just wanted to socialize. Starting that was last week. This was the second meal tonight on Tuesday nights. Usually they're Mondays and Fridays, and now we have 3 meals a week through the summer. And the only towns doing that are Greeley and Platteville. Why? Because our coordinator jumped in for us. He spoke up. She's made many contributions to the program since starting with this 5 years ago. The lunch program's grown 40%. Classes have been added, including better balance exercises and Tai Chi classes that are offered 4 times a week. Classes educating seniors about diabetes have been held 2 times. Blood pressure checks monthly by the Platteville Fieldcrest Fire Department. And records are kept each month for those. Transportation is required for those who need to get to doctors, shopping, and other miscellaneous are provided. Christie also attends monthly Weld County meetings that have netted an additional $6,000 for the program. Other programs she has provided by outside personnel at no additional cost include ARP driving courses, financial planning, Medicaid information and programs, assisted in senior living speakers, programs on local history, downsizing and decluttering seminars, physical therapy information, advanced directives and living wills, powers of attorneys and medical durable power of attorney, insurance for seniors and their retirement, aging in place, caregiver programs. Recently, monthly veteran appreciation gatherings have been added. And Christie's also been involved and started a radio program called Senior Circles on KFKA once a month. There are many programs and activities that have been done. She also mentioned tonight that not to forget about was the pool table. She found the pool table for seniors. And I think it was $75, and by the time it was ended, there was 0 cost because the people donated it. To my knowledge, I do not know anymore, anyone in the senior program being questioned about the proposed change. Why wasn't someone from the senior organization has to be included in the selection committee for the new director? The senior citizen in Platteville implored the Board of Trustees to reconsider plans for changing the management of the program. It's not broken, but getting better under its current coordinator. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. All right, next on the list, Curtis Moore.
Good evening, I'm Curtis Mork. I live at 723 Goodrich Court, and I'm also here representing the Platteville Senior Center. Although I myself am not of senior age, my father, when he was alive, was a very active supporter. My mother-in-law is active, and my spouse recently became of senior age, so now he is active. So we have a long family history in my time here in Platteville. The only thing I wanted to bring tonight was just a kind of a breakdown of the numbers. Back in October, one of our seniors suggested that Christy create a sign-in sheet for people to sign in as they came to activities. So I sat down today and counted up the numbers. From October 31st to today, we have had a total of 1,468 people utilize the center, be it meals, puzzle club, movie club, whatever. Now these numbers do not reflect the Thursday trips, which average 8 to 10 people each time. The Monday meals draw on average 22 to 25 people per meal, and then the Friday meals are around 20 to 22. But the monthly average for the last 6 months is 210 per month. Now, unfortunately in February the numbers went down because we had a little flood and the senior center closed us down for a couple of weeks. But the center is being utilized, and so we are here showing our support for everything that Christy has done for the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Curtis. Next I have Joyce Ruffman. Did I say that right?
I'm here just to share with you some of the things that this senior center has brought into my husband and my life. He's got macular degeneration, and he can't see much, but he's there. He's there playing pool, he's there eating, he's there, we're playing cards and things like that. The people that are there, we've got a great bunch of people. I mean, they're just awesome. We're laughing and joking and playing games and watching movies and going on trips that Christy has shared with us that she wants us to go on. And she is really a great coordinator. I don't know where anybody could find anybody better than her, actually. We all love her, and she loves us, and we know that. And she's real open to us, and we just have a good time up there. And I just wanted to thank you and our community for giving us that building, because if not, my husband and I would be sitting in our home and not doing much. Because if we go anywhere to do anything, it has to be quite a few miles away. And since I'm the only one that's driving in the household, it's up to me. And sometimes we both have health issues, and sometimes we just can't go, but we go to the senior room. So it's been a great blessing in our lives, and we really do appreciate it. And I know each one of us appreciate it. I know we haven't been down here to talk to you about it or let you know how much we appreciate it, but we do. It's been a big thing in our lives. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, was there anybody else who wanted to get up and speak before the board? Okay. Moving on, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes the minutes of May 7th regular meeting of the Board of Trustees, the financials, and the pay bills.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving on to action items. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, ordinance. An ordinance of the Board of Trustees of the Town of Platteville amending Article 7. Thank you. Of Chapter 2 of the Platteville Municipal Code by the addition of the new Section 2790 concerning code enforcement officers. Mr. Aiken.
Thank you, Mrs. Mayor. Excuse me. Over the years, we've had various code enforcement officers work with the town of Platteville. The majority of them have been post certified or law enforcement certified in the state of Colorado. The way our code is set up, only law enforcement officers are allowed to issue summons, write tickets. So So as you well know, we hired Maria Pena, our code official, some weeks back. She's really doing a good job, I'll be honest with you. She her 2 years in Platteville back in 2002, and then 3 years in recent years up in the city of Greeley. She's really shown her experience, and she works well with people. She asked me about when the time comes where she needs to issue a summons, if she could do that. And after talking to the chief, it makes a lot of sense for her to actually issue summonses directly from herself when need be. So I talked to Kendra, town attorney. She simply amended the code to add the language where a non-sworn person can issue summonses from municipal court on behalf of code enforcement or law enforcement matters under the code enforcement realm. So this is what this amendment's for in chapter 2.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Sorry, 3 minutes.
Your 3 minutes is up front.
Yes.
I will stay on track.
Carl, this question is for you, I guess. Is this something that other communities do with their code enforcement officer?
Yes, and we will still help her in the event that she has to issue a citation to someone and it's a safety issue. We will still help her, or we will actually issue it ourselves. So the answer to your question is yes. This is what other agencies also do.
Carl, does she wear a radio just in case if she's in a situation where she can get a hold of
Yes.
somebody to...
So she wears a radio, but she can only interact with other officers. So she will let us know if she's out at a residence. She will let us know where she's at. We'll acknowledge her. And we also have a list of houses that are high safety that we will help her with. And would, if we hear that she's out there, we would head that way. Or we would. So yeah, she wears a radio, but she can only interact with other officers at this time.
Okay.
Any other questions? I'd entertain a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2019, I'm on the right one.
Ordinance 779.
I make a motion to approve ordinance 779, an ordinance of the Board of Trustees of the Town of Platteville, amending Article 7 of Chapter 2 of the Platteville Municipal Code by the addition of new section 2-7-90 concerning code enforcement officers as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried. Okay, at this time, I will recess our meeting at 7:33 and open the public hearing concerning application for a conditional review use for the property located at 531 Energy Park Drive, Lot 2, Block 1, Platteville Energy Park, second filing amendment number 1. Lincoln Volker's application representative. The intent of the application is to construct a non-permanent explosive bunker and concrete barricade at the site. All right.
We're going to ask the board to continue this. I'll defer to Melissa to explain what.
Yep. So we were able to get the application for the conditional review use notice properly, but we didn't have all of the information we needed to bring forward to you tonight. So we're asking to continue it to July 16th.
Yes.
I don't know why that can't stick in my mind, but July 16th. So we'll be ready then.
Okay, are there any questions while the public hearing is open from the public? All right, I'm going to close the public hearing at 7:34, and I would entertain a motion we need a motion to move, table it.
Continue to a certain date, which is July 16th.
I make a motion to approve the conditional review use.
We need to continue it.
Table it.
Oh, we're going to continue it to July 16th?
Yes, ma'am.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? All right, that is tabled. I recessed the regular meeting at 7:35 p.m. and open another public hearing concerning an application for a conditional review use for the property located at 540 Energy Park Drive, Lot 2B, Platteville Energy Park, third filing amendment plat. Kurt Brinker, applicant, Robert Malloy, applicant's representative. The intent of the application is to allow for construction of a 21,000 square foot commercial building with an adjacent 96,000 square foot gravel storage lot. Mr.
Well, Mrs. Mayor, the applicant was here for the planning commission, his representative, I should say, but I don't think you realize you need to stay for this one.
Oh.
But I think most of you were here when he did speak, but this one you are hearing tonight, I'm going to defer to Melissa to finish this up.
Yeah, good evening. So this is an application for conditional use. The property is located in our light industrial zoning. So actually the warehouse and distribution facility is a use by right, but the fact that they want over 50% storage kicks it into a conditional review use. So that's why it's here before you this evening. Kind of described a little bit about how large it is and where it's located. So I'm going to go right into the criteria that you need to consider. And since I went over this before, I'll make it a little bit shorter. But I think one of the most important ones is that it's compatible with the surrounding area. This is in the energy park, where there are other very similar uses, other businesses that serve the oil and gas industry and have the storage of a lot of outdoor storage and a lot of outdoor storage of large equipment like this. So we think that it is compatible. Another consideration is the mitigation of any off-site impacts or nuisances that might occur. So they are doing a apron, a 40-foot concrete apron with double cattle guards at the exit points to mitigate any debris that will end up on our streets. So that's important. The storage yard is fenced with a 6-foot chain link fence and 10 slats. So that will help with screening from outside the lot. So I believe those are really the primary ones. Our fire district did look at it. They reviewed the building with the sprinkler. They had no outstanding concern with it. And finally, Adam Smith, but our town engineer, he evaluated it against our utility and drainage standards, and as well as the traffic. They produced a traffic letter and confirms that it meets all of our current standards. So with that, the Planning Commission did hear it a few minutes ago and made a favorable recommendation to you. So based upon that and the resolution before you, which includes one condition for any minor modifications, we are recommending this favorably this evening. So that's all I have.
Just on a side note, I should mention this planning commission. One thing Adam Smith and talking to David about was maintain the cleanliness, if you will, of Energy Park Drive and Division. So on the Division side, there's 2 exits with those 2 tracking devices, 40 foot. And David, are those all the way across the exits? We've learned our lesson because some of the new the earlier properties up there, we just had the tracking device on the lane coming out, but then the drivers will go around it and still bring stuff up. So what we've done now is tracking device across the entire width of the exit. They've asked not to put one on the entrance, and they assured us that trucks will not be going into the yard coming out that way. If they do, we're putting wording in the site plan order, which is administrative that I signed, that if we notice that, then they would be required to either stop immediately, sweep it up, or put in a tracking device. So we're doing our best to protect those streets up there.
How are trucks gonna enter and exit town? Planned?
Oh. It's kind of like pretty much what the other properties are over there right now. For example, we met with Anadarko and Willow Creek, the property that's right next to Anadarko, about their truck traffic coming out of Willow Creek, because they have some pretty large 60 and 40, but also 60-foot trailers that bring out of there. And because Anadarko parks so much there, we had to discuss how to alleviate that. As he explained, they'll go north on Energy Park Drive, go to 34, and then go south for the most part. But if they need to go south, what they'll do is they'll go on Energy Park Drive, back down Division, back down 32.5, and get the light to go north. Some drivers will try to go north at County 34, that's not signalized, depending on the time of day. But we try to keep them from going down. We don't let them go down Division at all. once in a while they may, but we'll catch it, hopefully if we do, but I haven't seen that. But they try to use 34, and I promote that because the more we use 34, hopefully the warrant will be hit eventually. CDOT we get that signal. But we're just not there yet. The bad thing about going northbound there is there's not an acceleration lane. You just go right into the passing lane of traffic. So we probably have, it's probably going to have more fender benders car over there. I mean, they're using it more and more. So, but yeah, good question.
Any other questions from the board, Mr. Rankin? Anything from the public, from the audience? Concerns? No? Okay. All right. I will close the public hearing at 7:41. And I would reconvene the regular meeting, and I would entertain a motion, please.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2019-25 as one.
Yes. Oh. Yes.
All right, a resolution approving a conditional review used to construct and operate a distribution and warehouse facility with outdoor storage at 540 Energy Park as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Okay, resolution 2019-25, a resolution approving a condition, never mind. Okay. E, agreement for services, Interflex Payments LLC, DBA Ameriflex, section 125 plan, Mr. Rankin.
Thank you, Mrs. It's the one was
Wow.
If you recall, a couple of months ago, I think it was in February, that Mary and I presented to the board the supplemental insurance plan for Platteville Life. And there was some work in that regarding Ameriflex. Ameriflex is the provider that does our flex cards for, like me, I contribute every paycheck for pre-tax, and then I mail these that money for prescriptions and doctor visits, so on and so forth. So there's a little bit of benefit. It's self-initiated, kind of donate to that program. But once we moved on and we gave American Family, our previous supplemental provider, they did the flex themselves. Only Life does not. They subcontract with Ameriflex. And we found out that for some reason Ameriflex wasn't notified by Colonial Life, which kind of irked me a little bit, to be honest with you. So we've been working with the town attorney to get this agreement signed. It's taken longer, so we had to kind of start from scratch. And that's being presented to the board because I have a whole group of employees very upset because they haven't been able to use their flex money for the last several months. And spouses that money. So, but I would, again, this is an employee contribution only. It's not for the town, but it gives us a benefit to use some of our paycheck money pre-tax for medical purposes. So I want to ask the board to approve this tonight so we can send in the agreement tomorrow, because it still takes 7 to 10 days to get their cards.
Any questions, comments, concerns? I would entertain a motion then, please.
Make a motion to move to approve an agreement for services, Interflex Payments LLC, Ameriflex Section 125 plan as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Moving on to F, committee's discussion, funding, responsibilities, and procedures. Mr. Rankin.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want the board to simply put this on the agenda, and I talked to Adrian about it. Mary and I have been talking about the two committees are involved, the Youth and Park Trails and Beach Committee. We, being Mary and I, want to make sure that everything is the same as far as publishing notices and getting minutes, because people do minutes differently than what Mary's used to. We have that government tag in front of us, so we have to do some things a certain way. So, and then on funding, I know during the Harvest Daze, West Pike was here representing the youth committee, bringing up maybe a couple of additional bounce houses. I think Hungry Hippo and a jousting one. I mean, things like that. I mean, I don't attend the youth committee. So there's some funding opportunities. As far as that's concerned, Ashley from Anadarko, who attends our Harvest Daze meeting, she called me
Yeah.
He does pretty good work. But, I'm not asking the board tonight, but I think we should, when we move forward in the budget, we can address any funding requests as they come forward, but I'd like to ask Nick and Spencer, are you aware of any of your committees, any future or current funding requests for the board to consider? Because we do have some funds set aside in the Parks Fund or even in recreation that we maybe pull from for smaller projects, but I think as we go into the budget this fall, we should set aside just a citizen advisory committee fund of maybe $1,000 or something.
Right.
Just for small projects like painting signs or doing a youth event in the park on a weekend in the summer, whatever the case may be. But mainly I wanted to kind of see what there might be pending for the board to consider moving forward for this summer. Do you think of anything?
The only thing we've got is the purchasing of the planters for the businesses, like the flower pots in front of the businesses.
Okay.
We had talked about trying to either get them donated or at a reduced rate and then purchase them. Rotary has leftover flowers from their plant sale that they are going to donate to the cause as well. Rebecca Sprague and I are going to approach, we're going to start with trying to get 5 for this year, businesses. Let's see if we can get 5 on board, and then we would just need the potentially need the funding for the pots to put the flowers in, and maybe the dirt.
How much are those?
We're still kind of wishy-washy on what they're going to look like and be, I guess. Rebecca, just today, she was telling me she's talked to someone who built concrete planters. That was not bad. It seems a little permanent, potentially.
Are these going to be on Main Street?
Yes,
Would you
Main
want to
Street
refer
and
to
Platteville Commons.
Would you want to refer to the plan of the Main Street?
Right, so the streetscape plan has some pictures and some ideas of what the community wants for planners.
Absolutely. So whatever that would be the only funding thing I can think of right now. Larry, can you think of any other things we talked about?
Probably first things right now. Sure, I'll think of something down the road.
Dog park too.
Yeah.
But I know that Richardson was here and approached us about that, so it's already on everyone's radar already, right?
Yep.
So that's the only other thing we're kind of working with. I think we talked about needing funding for right now.
Okay, I do want to mention, going back to that workshop we had that Troy and Adrian and then you stepped into the tail end. I was contacted from the lady, I can't remember her name right now, through CDP chief, that will give us, as a host of that workshop, $3,500 for any project on Main Street. Whether it be planters, new signs.
We're going to have that meeting,
A
get
meeting,
together.
the money can go towards buying food, to have a business luncheon downtown.
Can it be a mixture of?
I'm sure it can be,
Do a couple of
because,
those things, right?
so $3,500 will go a long way. We can buy that much food with it, but I don't think we need to. But we could probably apply that towards the planners too, so we should get together.
Okay.
Yeah.
But give me a little time, because the lady from CDP, she's on vacation, and she should get back with me next week, and we'll move forward with that.
Right, and what's super important is the minutes have to reflect that everyone voted on it, it was approved, and then it gets brought to the board.
Yeah. I think that what needs to happen as far as the Parks, Trails, and Trees Commission goes is that Rebecca and Mary need to get together, so just iron it out so that they're on the same page.
I was just gonna ask if Mary could provide, us with a blank minutes, or, just a template. Cause I really don't want Mary to have to take this on, and
No.
we can get, but it's all learning.
But everyone wants to do it differently right now, right? So we need
sure.
can we provide them with a format that we'd like them to have it in, so that it all comes back the same, I guess?
The format isn't as important as documentation of the motions and the votes.
Yeah.
But if you want it to all be standard so that everything looks the same and everybody can follow along and not get lost, we can do templates for minutes and agendas.
I think that would be fantastic, personally.
So what would would be good as far as both of them, and I'm not sure who takes your minutes, and or does
Amanda.
Amanda, that's right, so Amanda and Rebecca. I think instead of having a study session, I think maybe those two can just meet with Mary directly and go over how the number one, the agenda should be formatted so it's consistent with all the committees. For example, I mean, not just have your agenda items on there, but have your members, so you can do roll call. So when you do a vote, you can articulate if it passes or not. And then I know the minutes may be a little different. You know, even over my years with different town clerks, Mary takes minutes differently than others. You know, so I get that part. I'll defer to Mary on that. I'll leave that to her what she wants, but record keeping and then making sure our public meetings are properly noticed. Those are the two main things. And then funding is the third thing that we're talking about.
Yeah. So I didn't mean to interrupt, but Nick, did you have projects coming up that?
We just been kicking around ideas about, you know, like a play in the park type thing, getting, you know, like bounce houses or something there, but the committee's been talking about doing fundraisers to acquire some money, but it's nice to know they might have a little bit of extra cash there for funding stuff like that, for playing in the park, moving in the park, things like that, so I'll bring it up to Amanda, we have a meeting next Wednesday, so.
Next Tuesday?
Wednesday.
We changed it, changed it to Wednesday. Okay. And it has been all, I talked to Mary, and Amanda's supposed to get the information, or Trish better get you an agenda sent over. Yeah.
It's on the sign.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Because technically, we have to give 24-hour notice, so it would be Monday. I'm not comfortable with Monday, just like with this board. We want to get that agenda posted on Friday, so it gives a full weekend and then a business day for people to, if they want to participate, they have the time to prepare for that.
Right.
So I would say Monday or Friday noon would be a decent deadline to get that information to Mary. And then while we just coordinate offsite and we're offline talking about them, Amanda or Rebecca meeting with Mary at some point. We can do that.
I had requested maybe an idea for you guys, the sign-in sheet, their name, their phone number, and their email address. So that's who's present at the meetings, but they also have the contact information. So if anything ever changes, I don't know if that's helping, but is that reasonable?
Okay.
Just throwing that out there. And then maybe when we get the other two up and rolling, maybe the first meeting is going to be going over
procedures.
Yeah, procedures. Yeah, logistics.
Okay. Well, that was really the gist of it. Is we knew it would be kind of trial and error because it's the first full year. The other committees, I mean Troy and Hope and Larry, there really isn't anything going on with the other three, with the youth and Parks and Trails. So no surprise to me, I knew those would go because of that interest. But I think once we do, the mayor and I was talking offline about kicking off a summer barbecue event. Instead of having just a business lunch in the park, do something different, like Troy, we talked about it, because you're part of that. Instead of a business advisory committee, I can see that developing into maybe more of a business association of some kind, or some more formalized group, like a chamber. Right. But we're just not there yet. We need to have that meeting first. So.
Did you hear back on that grant for that?
I have not heard yet back from Don, but I should be hearing any time about the Ready Grant for the development. Okay. He couldn't tell me exactly when they come back. Okay. He thought June, so we're close. But I don't want to rush him too much because I also need a lot of money from sewer too.
Yeah.
Mary, did you want to add anything tonight about the committees? Okay.
At some point, are you going to want something formal to present to the board for money?
And that's one thing we can talk about more offline, but once you have your meetings, the youth and parks, just called PGT for short. If there's a request, we have to have that documented vote. I get the minutes, Mary gets the minutes, she gives them to me, and then I schedule it through the mayor to put it on the board agenda for the next action item to approve that money. So
sort of like we have a recommendation from the planning
commission. A recommendation to the board from either committee for X amount of money to do signs or do plants or whatever the case may be. But keep in mind that it needs to coincide with our agenda. So typically, was it Parks, Trails, and Trees the second Tuesday, and Youth the fourth Tuesday normally? Is that last Tuesday or something? Okay. So you would have time to get on the second board meeting if you had an extra time. You had the time to get on the first board meeting. We just need to have that same notice. And so, but you'd have a full week to give, or not a full week, but you'd have till that Friday of that week to give us that information. And I can put on the agenda.
Anything else? Any other questions, concerns? Okay, moving on. Bank transition discussion, Mr. Rankin.
Just an update. Mary and I went down to Fort Lupton, met with Bank of Colorado. They were up here yesterday, was it? Mm-hmm. My day's confused. It was yesterday. Discussing how we're going to transition. Mary and I and Devin also had a conference call with David Green. He's been through this process before. I have not. He says it's pretty simple. Mary's filling out the paperwork, we get the bank account number, running account number. Start, once we have the information, start moving. First the minimum, but David Green said, well, we'll put as much as possible once we get our checks. And then we'll set a date where we do the official switch over to where, like all the AP and payroll that we sign, they'll be going through Bank of Colorado to the First National Bank. The other thing is we'll keep it, our account with First National Bank at least to the end of the year. Just a recommendation for any outstanding checks or any issues that we may have, any glitches. Mary's working with the scanner so we can deposit, literally daily, at the end of the day, all our checks that we get. I am meeting with Isaac with community banks in the near future. Hopefully tomorrow, if not next week. Sick kids on his end, so I understand all that. And we'll open account at community banks as well, like we talked about. Minimum balance will be a bank here locally in town that we can bank with for small transactions, for cash when we need to, or small checks. But our cash deposits will go to the community banks here locally, and then once it builds up, we'll just do what's the term? Not a wire transfer.
It's similar to a sweep, they just do an ACH.
ACH. And then move the money.
So you have to open an account here to move. It's not easy like they said it was going to be. You just go there and now deposit it in the Bank of Colorado.
You can do it that way, but we want an account here so we can actually have cash available here on site if we need it on short-term notice. Because sometimes we'll need some extra petty cash on short-term notice, or getting cash with beer garden Harvest Daze. Not that often, but it's not going to be complicated at all. So I just want to update the board that's coming. We want to do the bank transition or conversion, if you will, before Mary in the front office does the full Castell conversion to assist. We want to have that done first. So there's a lot of moving parts going on right now in the front office, and the stress level's maintaining at a good level, but Mary's trying to keep it going as well as possible. We met the other day because I'm not paying deputy clerk. I told the other two ladies that I authorized some overtime just to help alleviate the stress and give them some breathing room. And when the time comes, I want to talk to you about our town clerk and how we can help offset her additional weekend after weekend after weekend that she's putting in here at town.
Yes, thank you.
So we'll have a conversation.
Thank you.
Maybe a cruise to the Bahamas? No.
Yeah, maybe a cruise down the river on the raft.
But they are putting in, Mary especially putting a tremendous amount of time.
I get phone calls and text messages that are not very nice.
And
like I'm a slave driver or something.
It's very
it's not, the work is not difficult. It's difficult if you're having phone calls and questions and meetings and agendas and
daily operation.
And I've tried doing stuff from home. All of us have spent a little time, but my Wi-Fi signal is not strong enough to have Castell and Assist and a couple spreadsheets and all the things open that you just have to cross-reference a lot of things to get the numbers right. So it's easier to do it here. I don't do it because I'm forced to.
Thank you for saying that.
Yes, that's what I tell everybody. I'm not really sleepy, but
yeah, it is not a big deal, but we're close.
No, it is a big deal. Thank you.
Well, we're
dedication.
We're close.
Yes, I think gonna start loading the February meter reads in utilities tomorrow. Once all the meter reads are in, then we'll manually submit all of the payment criteria. We don't have to do specifics, just fill in the amounts and show that they were paid. And the following afternoon, we're gonna start payroll. So those are the two big ones. And if those go off without a hitch, then we'll know that we're on the right track. There will be minor discrepancies from Cassell to assist regardless of whether our data is correct. We've made a lot of changes in payroll. We switched from a 24 pay period basis to a 26 pay period basis so that the checks would be more consistent. We've changed the way some of the information is reported so that it will show longevity, how much is paid and what it's been spent on. And right now that's just kind of in a cloud somewhere. So there'll be some differences, and anytime a computer does calculations and there's rounding at the end, by the end of a year, what was a penny on one pay period, can be a few dollars. But we can address that as we go through month by month. And hopefully by July 1st, before July 1st, we'll be through all of that and ready to go with the real deal.
And what they're working on, and just to be clear, I'm not doing a darn thing here. I'm just talking to Mary and the girls. They're doing all the work. Charlene has really got her hands full with utilities because that's a huge part of the software program. But then Devin's also dealing with all the municipal court and the cemetery and helping with the AP and payroll. And we still have Ashley Green coming in like she did today to help with that. Devin's also in her own transition, going from deputy clerk to finance clerk. And getting there, but it's they're busy. There's not a whole lot of downtime for those ladies in front office, so I just kind of stay out of the way, leave them alone.
That's probably best.
Good idea.
Wise man.
Yeah.
So,
just bring coffee every once in a while.
Oh man, we are going through some coffee.
So going back to that bank transition, I just want to wrap that up and just give an update. It'll be happening sometime soon. We have some steps to go through.
Dave, well, until we see the first dry run of the calculations, we are not wanting to commit to a lot of things. But we're planning to try to have a fake bill go out with the real bill in next month's mailing so that people can start to see what it'll look like. And there'll be directions on the back. If you have auto pay, you'll have to do this. If you pay by check or cash, it'll be exactly the same so that people can kind of, you almost have to hit them over the head with it before they get it. And then July 1st will be only the new bills, and the envelopes will have a thing on the outside that says new utility bills. Like, pay attention. Your auto pay will not work this month. Hopefully, we want to do the June mailing if we can, so that people will be able to call in and we'll be able to capture some of that that credit card data in the new system. We don't have really access to any of that. We can force a payment with a stored credit card number, but we don't know what that number is for our own safety and yours. So we'll be able to get a lot of those set up if they pay attention and call us.
Get their notice with that red paper that you send out the late bills with.
Well, the red paper makes people angry sometimes. So we might go with something calming like blue. Yeah, only sometimes. Because we want them to be happy and want to call us.
Yeah.
Not to call us and yell at us. Doing something different.
That's the work in progress. But also meeting with Bank of Colorado, since we're talking, it reminded me that the town is actually going to be a little bit more secure as far as managing data with Bank of Colorado, because they take on a lot more responsibility as far as people's private information than what we deal with now. So that's going to be a nice transition. Less liability for the front office on that end as well. So, and I would consider Fort Lupton being our primary branch, but if we need to make deposits, whatever, really, the Lanes can do that as well. So I just want to give the board an update. That's coming your way. It's not really coming your way, but it's being handled. It's happening. Okay.
Any other questions on that? Great. Thank you, Mr. Angel.
Thank you.
I'm moving on to reports. Chief Dwyer.
Thank you, Mrs. Mayor. Nothing real noteworthy other than what's in here. We're heading into the summer months, so we'll be utilizing our SROs starting next month. They'll be working a regular rotation and working the roads. That will alleviate some man hours for others that want to take summer vacations, or we'll have them working on shifts that we really need them on. That will help. Other than that, any questions?
That's our road.
School resource officer.
Just
larger
time to go around.
Any other questions for Chief Dwyer? Okay, well, thank you. Yeah. Moving on to Mr. Brand.
Thank you, Mrs. Mayor. The only caveat that I have, I was a little bit ambitious when I wrote this report last week, and I said that the community center renovations were complete. They're still trying to trim out the final windows. The new windows were installed, but thanks to Mother Nature, we didn't have a cooperating day yesterday or today to lacquer the trim pieces and have that ready to go in. So they're hoping that she cooperates a little bit tomorrow and we can finish that up. But we do have 2 graduation parties scheduled in there this weekend, and if the window trim isn't there, I don't think that's going to put too much of a damper on the graduation parties. But Mr. Peachin is working towards that end to see if we can have that. And then we did a punch list walkthrough today. Probably be finalizing those things more than likely next week. I don't anticipate that he'll get the flooring company back or a couple other minor things done between now and this weekend. Other than that, I don't have anything else, but I entertain any questions or concerns that I need to address.
David, I want to jump on here. You and I recently talked to Simon with JVA about you're having a meeting with JVA and Gross Winds when I'm at CML. Can you update more on that?
Sure. I had noted that in here that we're meeting in June. I had not put the date because I hadn't gotten the official finalization on what that was. I want to say the 18th, I think,
yes, it is
when we're scheduled to meet. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to go through, JVA has been working on their side of things, Grosswind has been working on their side of the pilot application. So on June 18th, we're going to go over that and finalize things as far as we're concerned, and then JVA will have a couple of more site drawings and a couple other things that part of the application has to be signed by a Colorado engineer and stamped, but because JVA isn't doing the engineering on the Grosswind side of the project as far as the Grosswind technology and all that, they're making sure that everything that has to be done and signed by a Colorado engineer, JVA has addressed as part of this proposal, and then that the state understands what portion JVA is not putting their signature to, but that is Grosswind, GWT, wanting approvals for that. So they're working through that, so we will be, they're anticipating somewhere early to mid-July when that's actually gonna be submitted to the state for official approval or denial of the pilot system. And they will, at that time, also submit our request to CDPHE for the extension in our compliance period, so that those two will go hand in hand. This does not put us behind schedule at all as far as what we knew it was going to be. We were hoping for an October, November timeframe to have stuff actually in the ground and functioning. They're still hoping for that at this point, but the RAB system, it had a 6-month lead time on it from the time that Grosswind ordered it. So they didn't order it until the board approved the contract. So it had a 6-month lead time. So we've still got time to get our foundations in the ground and that kind of thing. Now once this goes to the state, then JVA will begin the work or finalize the work as far as getting ready to go out to bid for the construction portion of that. But we won't do that. It's my understanding, I'll have more information mid-June, but it's my understanding we won't actually go out to bid on that until we've at least had a pretty affirmative back from the state. JVA may want us to go to bid expecting that affirmative, and we'll sort all that out middle of next month. So that's the status of where that's at. If I may, real quick, I did meet, and I forgot to put that in my notes, I did meet with a gentleman out of Strasburg with another algae technology that actually is approved in the state of Colorado. I don't know for sure if his technology would be the best fit for Platteville or not, but I told him, I've been upfront with him 100% that we are going through this process with GWT. If the pilot gets approved, we're going to do the pilot, and then at the end of the pilot, we will have JVA reevaluate the SBR versus the GWT technology, and at that time, because he's already got an approved technology here in the state, that we could have JVA look at his technology as well and a proposal from him. So he was more than okay with that because I was honest with him about where we were at, how this process would move forward. If for some reason Grosswind's pilot didn't come back the way they're anticipating and we didn't end up with an alternate technology approval for Grosswind, which I don't think won't happen, but if it didn't happen, I would still say that it'd probably be worth having JVA evaluate this other technology that does have Colorado approval. When Troy and I met with Mr. Sandoval from Town about the pilot study, I'm not very good at lying, so I just was forthright with him and told him that we had met with the other group as well about their algae. And the owner of the Strasburg group came back and sent me an email last week and said that DOLA is actually requesting a full-fledged study of their product so that small communities that have lagoon systems that don't need to replace their lagoon or for growth reasons or aren't going to see growth and don't have to do a lot except to just meet the new state criteria and the EPA criteria, DOLA is actually going to work with Bio2 Solutions to see if their product can be something that would be able to help these smaller communities and save a lot of capital costs and save overall running costs, operation and maintenance costs.
Good, thank you.
Anything else for David? All right, thank you, David. We have this update from the attorney on your agenda. So moving on to the town manager, Mr. Rankin.
Thank you, Ms. In case the board didn't hear, I excused Kendra dealing with her family medical issue, so she couldn't attend tonight. Just a couple of the items where I mentioned that additional funding from community builders and CDPHE, so as soon as she contacts me, we'll work on that. I mentioned the SRO contract Mr. Rangel sent. I'm looking at the numbers. I didn't just rubber stamp it and put it from the board. I could have done that tonight, but I'll make sure that the numbers that are coming in on from their end is meeting our needs on our end, because the cost has been set for 4 years. So
you said something about 3.5% increase every year.
well, that's what we have at the town of Gilchrist, and that's the agreement we've become, that we implemented. School district's a little different, and I want to only ask what we really need. It's not to be a revenue source for the town,
Right.
but I just want to double check our numbers and what we call them at. But I'll have that in front of the board at the next meeting in June.
Okay.
June 4th, I believe it is the next meeting. I mentioned Harvest Daze already tonight. Anadarko will pay that $825 for those 2 additional bounce houses. They've already gave us a check for $5,000 for fireworks, and then waiting another $1,000 check for a golf tournament. So it's nice that they support the town in some ways. That's capacity. Earlier time before the planning commission, David and I met with Rachel and Ben Brandon. They live right here in the corner of Reynolds and Maine. They're going to be directly impacted by this new storm drainage improvements that the fire district is working with FCI. Because on Reynolds, a big part of those front yards are in public right-of-way. They're in town right-of-way. So FCI is subcontractors working with Excel they're contracting with Excel to relocate the utility folks that's in the way, right in the corner. And there's some landscaping, and Ben told tonight for Mother's Day, he just built Rachel, some flower box, and that has to be moved. They weren't mad, they just want information. So they're very appreciative that we met them in the front yard and walked down with them. Dave's going to follow up with JT from FCI, and Ben's concern was they have put some money in for the irrigation system. So it's not just them. When we redo Reynolds Avenue, or do Reynolds Avenue, it's never been done except for gravel. I want to have a meeting with all the residents along Reynolds that are going to be impacted, and we'll probably do that sometime this summer.
The majority of them are upkeeping that easement, right? They're keeping it looking nice.
Yeah, if you drive down, some yes and no. I mean, there's some fences in there, some landscaping. But if you look at Reynolds Avenue, like the community center ball fields, those properties, I mean, you can see where the right-of-way ends. Like at Garza's, they're white fence. The other properties further down, they're side fence. We're not wanting to take the entire right-of-way, but we want to put a sidewalk, curb, and gutter on that side. But like we told the Brandons, we had the basic concept plan that Steve with their sent us, that we're going to come up that ditch along Reynolds from Troy, your house, over to their house is going to eventually be gone, because it's going to be curb and gutter on that side, be more of an open ditch on the other side. Not trying to dive right into it in too much detail, but there's going to be some impacts. So we need to let our citizens know and have a face-to-face with them, have a meeting sometime, maybe in July, and just talk to them all up front.
They're all really excited to have Reynolds.
Yeah, I think everybody wants Reynolds paved and alleviate the water flooding along there as well. So, Kendra mentioned that she's working with Patrick Groom, the attorney from the Energy Park, on this purchase and sale agreement. Dale Boehner apologized because when the board initially approved that weeks and weeks ago, he and his partners were literally around the country and around the world. They don't stay in one place very long. So we did get that back from them. The agreement is fine as far as the main content, as far as the price and the purchase of the property. There's some legalese, I call it, being discussed between Patrick Groom and Kendra. And she indicated to me last week that was coming together. So I should get that at any time for the mayor to sign. The board already approved the first or something. There's the community center rental agreement, a little bit about development on West Farm, the Harris property. Won't go into that unless you have questions. The deputy clerk position, deadline is Friday, so I started going through today the applications I received. Most of them are resumes. So what I do is I'll work with Mary, select a group of maybe 8 to 10, reach out to them and say, here's your application, fill this out if you're still interested, because I need the full application, because it has more information that you need to review. And we'll likely do interviews probably that first week of June, probably, depending on the time frame, and we want to get someone in by the 1st of July, not the end of June. And we're kind of waiting to bring them on until this whole Casell assist thing. So we really don't want to scare them off the first week. So we're trying to. And last time I mentioned the July Business Appreciation Lunch and doing something downtown, not just burgers in the park, you know, and maybe we can schedule a discussion in more detail on the June 4th meeting of picking a date, maybe a Friday evening, send out postcards, Troy and I talk, you know, he could be our go-to guy as our advisory committee liaison, and not just send them the mail, go face to face, you know, door to door, and talk to them and kind of tell them what we're trying to do and wrap multiple projects up into one. Al Armour from Excel did finally get hold of me today and said he apologized, but he said by the end of next week I will have in my hand the undergrounding schematics. So we'll have that. We already had a streetscape concept plan. Hopefully, I'll hear from Don at DOLA. We'll get that ready grant here in the next month. So I think July can be a big event for their businesses downtown. Have something fun down there.
That would be great. Linda Decker wanted to be updated on that.
Sure.
For those two properties of her father's. So if we can get her, definitely get her personal email included in that list with all the other business owners in town. They want to be part of it. They want to.
Well, my thought is we give every business in town an invite.
Yes.
But we also send out a utility bill on Everbridge, invite interested citizens of the community who want to just help improve or be part of the downtown improvement.
Yes.
Because it's funny, the same recurring theme from the streetscape plan that occurred at the community builder workshop is Lincoln Park is a block away. You got to figure out a way to tie that park into your downtown. People, pedestrian access go back and forth.
Absolutely.
Along Marion. That's a great area there. And
Shirley has always said Marion and Reynolds, those are the two most important streets in town. It's interesting, the perspective. Marion goes to, you know, the library and the museum.
The double trail the other anchors.
Yep.
So.
And then Reynolds down to our community complex.
The ball field, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I noticed, you know, this part of Reynolds up here between Main and Division, the hard top is doing pretty good, you know, but it was dry last week and these people flying and blowing up dust, and I don't know how the washboards are. I don't drive that route too much, but I don't know if we need to wash those washboards on that side and maybe wet it down a little bit, or
On Reynolds?
yeah.
Part of the issue there was our grader operator actually had the nerve to take a week off.
Oh, how weird.
First time in 10 years.
Wow.
He was back out this afternoon,
Okay.
so.
I know last week it was just like, I was just, you know, out working in the yard, I just hear it,
Yep.
they're taking off. And
Yeah, he had the nerve to take a week off.
okay.
One every 10 years, whether he needs it or not, you know.
You probably won't have that issue, not they got Main Street open, I think they had a lot of extra diverted traffic down that road that beat it up too.
Well, yeah, the biggest thing was that part from Division to the ball fields, you know, they're playing softball at night and stuff, and so they're just, you know, people from out of town are hitting that road at 35 miles an hour, and, you know.
There's speed bumps that way, Troy.
Yeah, yeah. It totally pops off and down in that ditch there.
Yeah.
One last thing. Tomorrow morning at 8, Mary and I are going to meet with a lady from Meade that offered the job to for a senior recreation director position. We don't ever heard quick comments tonight. I've been having this conversation with the senior coordinator since last December. We've met again several times in the last few months about this transition. The person I've offered the position to that we're going to meet confirm that tomorrow. We've been discussing benefits and insurance and, you know, those valid questions. Nothing about pay, but the benefit items that we've been discussing. Hopefully we'll wrap that conversation up tomorrow. Start probably the first week of June sometime. For the last 15 or so years, she has managed all the youth programs in the town of Meade, and at the same time has managed their senior facility and all the senior nutrition meals as well, overseeing a part-time senior coordinator. Very similar roles, different communities. It's not a personal venture of mine. This is a matter to do improvements. A lot of what was said tonight, I'm not going to argue one bit about any of that. They've increased dramatically, but not through 40 hours a week. That's my argument.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you tonight about after listening to them. Has anybody sat down and talked to seniors, whether coffee nights or days or mornings, and say, this is why, and she's been involved in this process, and because maybe, she's telling them a different story than what we're doing here, and they're not here.
And I love that organization, God knows that, but I think it's just a change in the investment in how they do our program. So the board knows I had Meredith Scotland, a longtime nutrition senior coordinator that knows every one of our seniors as an interview committee panel member. Yep. So specifically represent our senior-based organization. And also I had Stacy, the sports director coordinator from Fort Leavenworth Recreation, that I've worked with Reggie and Gordon for the last 12 years, that know them personally. They go to all the meetings together, so they have a very good insight on the recreation side of things. Because they're in the same league, they do so much partnership with us in recreation. And then I had Nick as our youth committee and our board representative. So we had a good committee interview process.
So, yeah, all sides were equally represented.
And it was tough. I mean, like Nick and I talked, we deliberated for about an hour after the last interview. It was tough. It wasn't an easy decision. I was pleased as town manager. We had some really good applications.
Well, I think the seniors are, they're upset. I was there tonight, and Christy didn't say anything to me. It was brought to my attention by Curtis. They're pretty upset over there.
I know.
And I think that we need to keep an open communications with the seniors. I had no idea what was going on, and I still don't know what's going on. If I'd known what was going on, I probably would have supported this. I mean, I don't know what's going on. I've been left in the dark. So
we've been talking about it in our meetings here.
No, I mean, I had no idea that Chrissy's. I know this is a personnel matter, so I'm not going to push it anymore. They are upset. They were upset through the dinner tonight. So I just want the board to be aware they are upset. Maybe we can communicate with them. I know we can't discuss personal matters with them, but we need to have an open communication with the seniors because they are a big part of our community. And that's why they were here tonight. And I did let Adrian know a few minutes before it happened, but that's not really no doubt.
And I appreciate that because I've had a conversation about this specific topic with the Senior Advisory Committee. Their board for their organization had a lot of support for this action. Okay, I know there's both sides. I know there's going from a benefited full-time position to a part-time non-benefited position. That's difficult for that individual. God knows that. We know that.
But she was part-time before. We just made her full-time about a year ago or so, right?
The only other consideration, which we can talk about here in the next few months, there's no lead time that we'll need to let people know, but 30 hours a week is full-time as well with benefits. But that's not something we discussed initially. But I think we need to revisit. But I've been trying to be as open. I haven't met with the whole group, but I've met with the committee, and I've met with the senior coordinator for multiple times in the last few months. And I wasn't born yesterday. I know how all that transition tonight. I know fully well what happened tonight, and I don't blame it. But I assured the board I'm going to go talk to the seniors too that what they're doing, what they've been improving on, those additional activities, those are not going away.
Yeah. Oh, it sounded like they were under the impression that they're losing their senior center.
They're not losing the senior center. None of those activities they talked about, not one single one of them is going away.
If anything, it'll be
because 99% of those activities occur between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. Other than a group going on their own, going to the senior center to watch the Rockies play, and the Nuggets and the Avalanche, and the Tuesday evening meals. So yes, there's a big story about this. Not really a big story, there's a whole story about this. So I don't want to get personal. I agree with you, Hope. It doesn't need to be personal.
Well, I think that they're just, you know how that generation, they don't like change. I think that's, you know, they're comfortable with that and what they have going, and they don't like to change.
Yeah, I have a son graduating Saturday that sent his grandmother an invite for graduation.
He's still got some learning to do.
He went and took a picture by a tree and sent her an invite. So you're right, there's no change in that. I mean, there's really no change in that.
They aren't losing their coordinator.
No.
They're potentially just, right?
Well, they're cutting her hours, and she's gonna have to go somewhere else.
She's supposed to be there still.
So probably
Coordinating coordinating for the supervisor, or for the seniors, under the direction of the,
See, that's what I understood was going on.
right?
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah, no,
telling
they're happy
anybody
to.
to leave, but because of the reduced hours and the benefits, yeah, that's a choice that has
They
to be
will,
made.
and they will have one dedicated person. It won't, there will be a senior and rec coordinator, and then underneath that person
Yeah.
are one dedicated to youth and one dedicated to seniors.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
So
I
her
understand
position
that,
isn't
but
going anywhere.
Which we could,
she had an
must we
opportunity
try
to
to
put in
put
for an
benefits with
application.
that position? Try,
At 20 hours a week.
30 hours.
It has to be 30 hours. It has to be 30 hours.
But with doing the nightly meals, you may need 30 hours.
But that's just a summer program that is kind of a pilot program.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it'll continue after this, it may,
It's just Greeley and Platteville at this
but it's
point.
just Greeley and Platteville, it's a pilot program, so, I know working with the senior coordinator, the last few months, that their numbers were consistent enough on Mondays and Fridays that they qualified, and they really wanted that evening meal, which, by all means, that's a great thing for the summertime. You know, and there was a big turnout tonight when I drove by before, to the flag commission.
Some people there.
Maybe like fitness programs and I don't know, you want the senior coordinator, you want to just be for the seniors and you don't want them to be.
No, they need to have silver sneakers, and United Way, and.
That, I'm just saying the 30 hours, you could, in the wintertime, you don't have the summer meals, then you have them do like a senior fitness program.
Well, there's already conversation getting this new bus, which is essentially the same passenger capacity, but a lot more convenient, ADA accessible, not just taking trips on Thursdays for a few hours, do another day, like Tuesdays or Wednesdays. Right. And taking them to the, when I met with the Fort Lupton Rec Director about rentals and facilities, we talked a little bit about the senior program, and they're active. I mean, they eat. Trust me, all senior organizations have a nutrition meal program, but they go. You know, they go to Rockies games, they go shopping down in Denver. Not like our seniors don't do some of that stuff, but it can be more utilized. But I've told the board from day one, I'm not gonna lie to anybody, Tuesdays and Wednesdays are very, very slow. You may have one or two people going in and out of there. Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays are big hits. They're just big, and they always have been. So I'm not knocking anything, I'm just saying this is reality, it's my job, I have to be realistic here. So, but I think we need to bring it up maybe again next month, and if I wanna talk to the seniors to get more, I'll talk to the whole group this time, well, I'm probably doing that. I think it needs to happen, because now, something's been said that I'm not completely, or this board's not completely privy to, and I need to find out what the entire story is.
Yep.
Okay?
Yes, please.
Troy, one other thing you brought up about talking to the rec department over in Fort Lupton. Did you talk to them about their fees and how they manage their community center with alcohol and fees?
I have all their rental and alcohol agreements, and I'm drafting a revised agreement. That way you have something physical to look at to see how that would work. I don't have any big concerns with that, other than when they have a rental, it's during, most of it, not all of it, during regular business hours, and then if they have a rental after hours in one of their rooms, the renter has to pay additional cost to pay someone to stay overtime.
The staff.
To stay there, but most of the rentals, the building is full of 10 or 15 employees, so it's easy to manage. Here we have someone, you know, to be on site to monitor a rental, but what would they really do? You know, so those are conversations we need to have. Alcohol rental, you're gonna have somebody, they're gonna have a security guard there with a server. which is my concept. So you have 2 people on site. So that'll be easy to manage. It's just the rentals that don't have alcohol, how we manage that, because I don't want that place tore up after all the money was put into it.
Electronically?
We have the wiring, we find the cameras up here, right, David, on the community center side. But David can stay up at night and watch the cameras on the community center.
Almost as much fun as watching the one on here.
Haven't done that yet.
That's all I have, Mary.
Any other questions, comments, concerns from Ms. Rankin? Okay, moving on. I don't have anything additional. Do you community, committee liaisons have anything to add? Not at this time? All right. Yes.
So we're gonna cancel the second meeting of June for CML. So we'll have the June 4th meeting. Anything that was scheduled for the second meeting of June being moved to the first meeting of July. So like the bills and financials. I wanna bring this up before next meeting. And then, Mary, when was I scheduling a study session for code enforcement that second Wednesday?
The 12th.
The 12th, so committee members or advisory committees, I'll make sure I have that night, June 12th, which is a Wednesday. I'd like to have a study session for the board to meet with Maria. She's been doing code enforcement now for the last month or so. She's got some questions, I have some stuff to pass on the board on everything from trailers or campers and all kinds of stuff. Nothing major.
That's a Wednesday.
That's a Wednesday evening. But those are, we have one meeting and one study session in June. Otherwise, I'm just gonna read that down for you here.
Thank you.
One thing for you, Troy. You mentioned text messages from coaches about baseball fields. Being as I have 2 daughters participating in our leagues this year, I became a town advocate. Is there anything you can do to get them more practice fields?
That's a tough one. I know years ago I brought it to the board before the majority of this board was here. I think Hope you were on the board, I'm not sure if bigger than you were.
I was.
About putting some more money aside, building some new good ball fields over there where the horseshoes are. And the board at the time said no. So if we want to revisit that, we can. I know we do have some plans to, and we actually literally have the plans from our town engineer to do some parking improvements and cover that culvert on South Main at Coronado, because it has a backstop. It's a great little practice field. We could easily, I mean, it's irrigated, right, David? We could just put in maybe some new seeded dirt or some sod and water. I mean, we can clean it pretty nice, put some benches, not only for games, but for definitely T-ball and co-ed and girls softball. But that price tag was around $50,000 to $55,000 to do those parking improvements, because we had to get a permit through CDOT 3 years ago. And that was 3 years ago.
Now, if we get the devolution, we won't have to do that.
No, we'll just do what we want, because it'll be ours. But
Lincoln Park?
I'm really hesitant to take away that open space. I mean, I wouldn't mind putting a little backstop over there where the T-ball can practice, but not take away that open space.
Yeah, I'm not even saying add anything, just, say, hey, run around, some of the coaches are just looking for a place to have kids go to practice, not even with a
Field some balls.
Yeah.
Well, years ago, we had 2 backstops at Riverview. We took one out initially when we put the new shelter, and then we took the one out on the Salisbury side over by Dollar General, because it was coming apart and getting sharp and rusty, and it just, those aren't cheap, but we could look in, David, I can work with David looking at putting a new little small backstop over there where, cause that's usually where the T-ball typically practice, as well as a lot of the coach pitch, because they don't hit big foul balls for the most part.
Right.
Should we wait to see what our new coordinator,
Well, that's
how
true.
she schedules practices?
And it is tough.
15 teams,
And now, it's worse this year, because the middle school, we can't use that starting in 2 weeks, which is the core of the summer. We can't use the middle school field, because we typically use them for T-ball coach pitch, and then the other fields are split between the softball and the baseball. So it is tough.
You'll put them in a real pitch.
And then some coaches say, well, I don't want grass, I have to have dirt. So it's like, I can't win on that one.
How about that, over by the new park over in Rogers Farm, that last section, there's that, holding pond down there.
Is that a detention pond?
Yeah, there's no water in there usually.
No, but we have that concrete culvert, that riprap that kind of winds through there, and I don't know how safe that would be down that Rogers
On
Farm.
the north end of the baseball or basketball court.
It'd be east of that one you're talking about, there's two of them.
There's that one.
Yeah, that, right next to the road, I want some kind of buffer over there.
They're all next to the road, aren't they?
What's that?
All the fields are next to the road, aren't they?
Well, that one's on the corner, you mean. You have two sides, the other one just at the one side.
I see it's between two roads.
Yeah, south main, the field's away from the road, or not, of course, these ball fields are really safe.
There's an opportunity at Riverview.
Riverview, we can look at putting a backstop back over that.
And that wouldn't interfere with the soccer, because I know one of the things that brought the soccer is over there as well, right? So that would be out of the way of the soccer practice.
Yeah, I was told by our co-rec directors not to put one more thing over there because our soccer field now barely fits between the shelter and the skate park. Which, the backstop's not gonna hurt it. Back there by those trees like we used to. When I looked at years ago, it was like 10, 15 grand. Yeah, it's not cheap. I can bring it up for at the next meeting.
Maybe got some donations. Pursue that. How's our 501c3 status? Is that right?
It's lingering because it hasn't been a priority. Maybe the youth committee can help me with donations.
Yes.
We're having trouble right now figuring out what we're gonna do to get donations.
Well, this is in a park too, so we could actually be a coalition.
Oh, it'd be a partnership between
Yeah.
Parks, Trails, and Youth.
Yeah. We just talked about budget.
I think that would be
maybe a potential backstop on the budget request.
I will make sure our new senior rec board director speaks with you two in the near future.
Perfect.
Okay.
Anything else before the board? All right, we're adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.